Would you like to play a game? I knew I got you guys. Anyway, let's talk and rank all 6 Scream movies, including Scream 6, from worst to best. I'm going to be very clear before I start this. There's not a single bad movie in this franchise. I love all these movies. These are the worst is either a 3 out of 5 stars or a 3.5. This is a fantastic franchise, very consistent one, and one that really keeps finding ways to be impressing people. And it's a very divisive franchise for some people because some people have different opinions on it. I know some people that have a different movie in last place than I do, but I'm here to tell you this is my ranking, and if you don't like it, go find someone else that does match your ranking. But just so you know, this is my own ranking, and I may have a different ranking than some people, but I think we all know what's going to be in first place. But anyway, with all that said, let's get started. So kicking things off at number 6, the least best in my opinion is Scream 3. And to be honest, this is a very solid movie for a franchise that keeps on delivering so many really good movies. And I know that there are some people that actually say that this is a bad movie. The critics also are not a very big fan of it. I'm here to tell you guys you're wrong and you're looking at it through a different lens. And I get it. It's a very ultra meta, and it goes in bonkers directions at times, and it does some decisions that some people may not be a big fan of, and the Ghostface reveal is not my favorite in the franchise. It's a decent reveal, but still not one of my favorites in terms of that. But I also think that this film is very smart in the way it does it. I love that what is his name? His name is the film guy. How do I forget he's my favorite character? I'll remember. I'm trying to think. I know it's here somewhere, but the guy that has the film that, spoiler alert, dies in the second one. Oh, I'm still not over that. But he dies in the second film, and we actually get a tape of him in the first in the third, and believe me, it is hilarious. They actually have this really funny joke in which he actually says that he kisses someone or like makes out with them, and then when the people that are actually listening to it actually say it, and he's like yes yes yes, and then he says the name of the person, and he's like the creepy or something, and then he says shut up, like as if he knows it was there. I'll show the clip.
And that giving up my virginity to Karen Kolchak at the video store was probably not a good idea.
Karen Kolchak?
Yes, Karen Kolchak.
Creepy Karen?
Shut up! She's a sweet person, okay? We were working late, we were putting away some videos in the porno section, and...
But this is just such a funny movie that has some really good twists and turns. It does have some scenes that feel like they're built to nowhere, but the kills are really good in here, and it's a very brutal movie. This franchise is one of those franchises that, as it goes along, just gets more and more brutal. And the first one's pretty brutal, so that should be a really cool sign that you've made a very violent franchise. But this is just a really fun movie that I have a lot of fun with, and I know that a lot of people may say it's a bad movie. I'm here to tell you that I am not that person. I think it's a really fun movie. At number 5 is Scream 4 or Screeform, or however you want to say it. But anyway, this is a really good addition to this franchise, and this is a movie that I know it looks awful. It looks abysmal, just the way that it is shot in terms of the glossy, really TV show-like, very, very underwhelming little whatever they used for this. I know it looks awful in terms of that, but if you take it on its own terms, it's really fun. It's one of the most brutal by far. It is a very gory and brutal movie, and it has one of the most creative opening scenes in the entire franchise, in which you get not one, not two, but I think 3 different openings in a single opening. I have no idea. It is very confusing, and they actually do play a joke for one, and how it's very confusing, and how are they in a movie right now, or are the people watching this in a movie that they're watching in a movie? So it's very, that gets very meta too, and this is always a very meta franchise, and it's really fun the way that they do this. Dewey is very fun in this movie too. He's not at his best. 2022 is easily his best Dewey-ness. That or the original. I love him in both movies, but He's just such a fun character in this one, and they do some things that are a bit stupid, but I have to say, if I had to fault this movie for one thing, it's something that I can fault with all these movies, including the original, for two different things. One, there is an exposition dump that comes for the killer's reveal. There's literally always an exposition dump that happens. It's tough to call it a very good thing when it comes to the fact that whenever a killer is revealed, instead of them doing it in the best way possible, they kind of go in an exposition dump way. And also, the characters make very stupid decisions that are glaring you in the face. Like, who makes this stupid decision? Who? And it happens multiple times in this movie. It happens in all the movies, but it happens in this one a lot. But it's a movie that I do have a lot of fun enjoying, and just like Scream 3, but more so this one, if I'm gonna have to rewatch the movies, I'm not gonna be like, oh, man, I have to watch this one, because that's not my experience with this, because I really enjoy this film. In fourth place is Scream 2, and this is also a great movie, and this is a great movie in this franchise. I really enjoyed this. This is a really good sequel to a fantastic movie, and is as good as the original? Certainly not. It's nearly impossible to make a sequel better than a horror classic. There's literally almost no horror movie that has ever managed to do that for a sequel. But this has a really good opening scene. I really like the way that they use the ghost faces, and this has a really smart way in which they use it, and how the ghost face is gonna blame the movies. It's something that maybe people are not the biggest fan of today. I actually really like it. Randy's his name, but Randy, I was incredibly furious that he bites the dust in this film. Oh, he's my favorite character. I know. Sydney's like the obvious route to go, or Dewey. Nope, I'm going, what is it? Great. Did I seriously just forget his name already? It's Randy. But anyway, Randy, I just am a big movie fanatic, so he's just the character that I feel the most, like, connected to, so he is just such a fun character that I really love, and it's just a very creative movie that takes some really good twists and turns. I think it's around, like, the middle act. It starts slowing down just a bit. It has that problem, kind of like how Scream 3, and around the third act is where it starts to lose its steam. And like I said, the exposition dump that comes at the end with the killer reveals. But it's not enough to hurt my score. I still really enjoyed this movie, and this is a really good movie in this franchise. Bringing us into the top 3 is Scream 6 or Scree 6. Like I said, the times that they mix the numbers and the letters together are not my favorites, but I can still get over them if it looks cool, and this kind of does, only it just gets a bit confusing to see. And this has one of the best opening scenes in this entire franchise. It's very creative in the way it does it, and very it's very smart the way it does it. I believe, just so you know, I do know the killers for all these movies, because I just saw them, and I know that Film Kid, I believe he knows sadly he knows the ghost faces, I think, for all the movies now, except for Scream 6, and considering that and the fact that this is still a relatively new movie, I am not spoiling the ghost faces for anyone. So you are not getting to know them here. If you want to do that, watch the movie. It's a really good movie. If I had to give some faults, what is it? Courtney Cox, her plastic surgery was awful. She's not looking too good here. Like, you can really tell it's plastic surgery. Ugh. Another thing is that also holds it back is the third act. The third act kind of goes into the really exposition dump of this entire franchise. Might be the biggest in the entire franchise. It kind of gets a bit too chaotic, and there's one scene in particular where there's like this really noble sacrifice from one of our legacy characters actually not one of our legacy characters, but one of our characters from the original from the previous film that comes, and it's a very stupid scene considering they then decide to make him survive. And I don't like it how, if you want to make a sacrifice, you need to stop letting this guy keep getting himself sacrificed or getting himself attacked by Ghostface and he survives, because he got stabbed like 8 times. Like, seriously, and this is probably our most brutal Ghostface. Like, this guy is like tearing people apart. And this is probably my favorite version of the mask and the suit of Ghostface. Is between this and 2022 is my favorite version of the killer in terms of how he looks, because he's very tall, menacing, gloomy. And also, I actually, for Halloween, I made a pumpkin of a ghost face. It looks so cool. And I'm just going to say this. I love the way they designed the mask, because in the other ones, it's always so clean and like it in the store. This one, they decide to show the fact that this one's like much more hardened and a lot more old. And they actually tie that in really nicely with it. So just the way that they use the mask to their advantage to show how awesome it looks. And I was like, wow, that's a really good mask, especially since it looks a lot more worn out and like really cracked and stuff. So I really enjoyed that. But it also is a con because it means that you cannot tell. I mean, because it's easy to tell which Ghostface it is, but they actually do a good job in which they have one of the other Ghostface wear a just regular mask. So it's really smart in the way it does this. Kirby comes back, who I really enjoyed having her back because we didn't get to see her since Scream 4 or Scream 4. I'm gonna keep doing that. Hey, I like it, but anyway, getting to see her, she still has like the sassiness and the like kind of disrespect that she did as like a little teenager. So she's a fun character, and I really enjoy how there's like this really funny scene with Gale and Kirby in which they had this like really funny banter back and forth. So it's a really fun movie, but the third act kind of kept it from being in the top 2, because otherwise, if they had like touched up the third act a bit, this is easily a top 2 Scream movie in my opinion. But I really did enjoy this movie. Our runner-up is Scream. Sorry, wrong Scream. Finally, this is the right Scream. Man, you have no idea how many times this keeps happening to me. And this is a really fun movie, and one of my cons with it is probably the fact that it is called Scream. You could have called it Scream 5. I mean, I'm not too ashamed of it that they call it Scream. You can call it Scream 2022 or whatever, but that's one of my problems with it, that it's trying to comment on the Legacy sequel era, so it had to do that because they needed to find some fresh way. So, but I do still enjoy this movie quite a lot. Like, this is Dewey at his, like, best. Like, this is a great version of Dewey. I really enjoy his version of it. Like, Tara and Sam are, like, such an iconic duo together in this. And I just love the way that they utilize the Legacy sequel characters and the way they introduce the new characters. It's just so good. The kills in here are very brutal and gory. They're not quite as on the level of extreme as 6, because that one goes for it. That one goes full on menacing, brutal, but it is close because both films really do their best. And I really like this was a really hard scene to watch because I'm gonna spoil something for you, so I would maybe just skip the rest of this because you already know it's my second favorite in the franchise. So anyway, there's a death in this character from one of our Legacy characters of Dewey, and which that was a really hard scene to watch because not only did I now care about him so much in the way that they utilized him, but also the fact is the way he dies is so extreme. Like, gone are the days when it's just like simple little stabbings like it is in the original. This is full on, like, this is one of our meaner ghost faces, and like just the way that they kill him, and just the way that he kills him, and like he stabs 2 knives to him. And he, like, rips open his chest with the knives. And the blood and guts go everywhere. And Dewey deserved better than this. And just the way that they then lift him up using the knives. That was really hard to watch because this was Dewey, and we loved him so much. And he's a bit more stupid than the other ones, and he's always been a bit more clear-headed, not the smartest, but I just loved how they utilized him in this. And then they kill him. And also, one of my other cons is with all this entire franchise as a whole is the ghost faces. They all are the same, and since there's multiple, the thing is, I want to know who usually kills them, so I don't know who. Sometimes, if I'm not completely paying attention, I still don't know. I don't even know which ghost face is the one that kills Dewey, because there's 2 in this film, so I'm like, which one killed Dewey? There's 2 in the original, so I wanted to know who killed the woman at the beginning. Who kills her? It's so hard to tell. It's easier for Scream 3 because that one they actually went for it because there's only one killer in that. The other ones there's always two killers. And so that's one of my cons with this entire franchise, but also this one because I need to know who do I need to savor watching die when I rewatch this film because of what they did to Dewey. Who do I need to kill? In my head. So I just really enjoyed this movie, and it's a really fun watch, and it is easily second place, but not quite. It's definitely not on the level of the one at the top. Finally, now we're at the top, but easily in first place is the original. Now, editing team, now you can put in the original. Thanks for doing that. That was embarrassing. But anyway, this is just one of my favorite movies of all time, and although some of the other openings are just more creative in some ways, this one is just my favorite of it's just so iconic. It's a very brutal opening scene. Just the way that we see her and all the blood and all the guts dripping down her, like they actually say this in the movie, like she had her insides on her outsides, like ugh. Like that was a really difficult scene to watch. I think I actually watched that when I was a bit younger, so I knew what was gonna happen, and I knew that this is a really messed up movie in terms of what it does. And I just think that this is such an iconic movie, and everyone, well, most of everyone is at their best. This is one of my favorite portrayals of Sydney, one of my favorite portrayals of Gale. Dewey, not quite as good. It's either, well, actually, yes, he is fantastic. It's either between this or 2022, which is my favorite. Probably 2022 because they utilize him so well, but it's close, and I just love the side characters. Randy, in particular, is the greatest character in this franchise, easily, because I just love movies so much, and him being like the comic relief of this entire movie, and him being the guy that always knows so much about movies. I have to put him in first place when it comes to the characters. I have to. It's my job as a movie ranker. I could not be a movie ranker if I did not. I'm joking. You can be a movie ranker and say that he's not the best character. But he is a fantastic character. And whenever he is on screen, you immediately are like, okay, I need to watch this guy. You are glued to the screen because this guy's hilarious. And it like really just sells it. And it's just so iconic. There's so much stuff about this. It's basically a perfect movie, except for, like I said, the exposition dump and the usual stupid decision, like one in particular involving a girl deciding to escape through a garage door, and she ends up getting her neck snapped. That was a very stupid decision. She tried to escape through a doggy door in a garage. It was a very stupid decision, which ended up getting her killed. And I also don't see how she couldn't have just crawled back through, because she should have been small enough to be able to skim back through if she was able to get through. Well, I guess the horror movie had to, because they needed some death. But this is easily my favorite horror movie of all time, if we're not counting things like Predator or Aliens, stuff like that. But those are more action horror, so I'm not counting them. But in terms of like full-on horror, this is easily my favorite horror movie. And it's just such a fun movie, and it easily comes into first place in my ranking. There you have it, guys. Wait. Before we get to talk about my ranking on Letterboxd, let me just tell you about the Twilight. Let me just say that I know this is a really bad franchise. I've experienced part of the original, and it's not looking good. So, Film Kid and I, great YouTuber by the way, a very good buddy of mine, I should have the link in the description below, are going to be doing a ranking of all the Twilight movies. I asked if I could do this, so he and I should be taking care of it. He's going to take care of a few rankings of his, of the Man with No Name trilogy, Dirty Harry, and The Godfather. I think those are the three that he needs to get done. Then he should be doing this, which is, let's give him a round of applause for that, because, I mean, he's giving me a lot of time to, like, put this off, because, woof, this franchise, ugh, because I hear the original one is probably one of the best. Well, I think it's supposed to be the second best in this franchise, if not the best. Oh, man, this is a chore to get through. This is a really bad franchise. So, if this is as bad as I get, if I'm told for, oy. So, hopefully he has a better experience with it than me. If not, we may bond over having such a really bad experience with this film, because really bad teen angst and just some really bad stuff in it. But we're just going to be ranking the franchise to have fun. So make sure that you let us know your ranking of the films when we rank them. But I just needed to get that off my chest. So now you guys can go over to Past Me to talk about Scream. There's my ranking of all 6 Scream films from the least best to the best, and this was a really fun franchise to go through. This is one of my now favorite franchises of all time, so thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to share your ranking in the comments below, and also be sure to subscribe to me or just follow me on Letterboxd, whatever you say, just whatever. So make sure that you go to me on Letterboxd. If you go to my channel, it'll already have the link there. Otherwise, I'll see if I can put it in the description below. So thank you all so much for watching this, because this is a really fun thing that I made sure I could do. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.